Good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up those football gods. Wake up here, guys. Wow. It is finally freaking Friday. We've got 4 playoff games this weekend. I know we're talking about playoffs.
Uh, Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Playoffs?
We're talking about playoffs. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys aren't in anybody's playoffs this year. Hopefully, that'll change for next year. Interesting thing is, right now in the NFL, it is musical chairs of coaching. Um, we now know that Urban Meyer, coach of the Jags, and interestingly enough, I was talking about when you're trying to get NFL coaches, it's like NFL quarterbacks. There's only a certain number of people on the planet who can do that job. And even guys that you think can do the job, some of them can't. This is how crazy it is that Scott Linehan is interviewing for the offensive coordinator for the Jags. Scott Linehan. How crazy is it that Jason Garrett gets relieved of his duties here with the Cowboys, goes to the New York Giants, okay? Goes with the New York Giants, is there for 1 year as the offensive coordinator with the second worst offense in the NFL. I can't say that you can look at Danny Dimes and say he's progressed further as an NFL quarterback. They literally averaged under 300 yards per game. Only 2 teams in the NFL averaged under 300 yards a game. The Jets and the Giants. Yet, Jason Garrett is interviewing with the Chargers, and it's word that the Eagles would like to interview him as well. It's kind of crazy. We believe Art Smith has been offered the job with the Atlanta Falcons. Todd Bowles is going to be interviewing with the Detroit Lions. We know that Marvin Lewis already interviewed with them as well. And Robert, I can't pronounce the name, Saleh has taken the job with the Jets. Here's what's amazing to me. This is almost comical when you think about this, that the Eagles may have really screwed up because right now it seems like that job is literally radioactive. Robert Saleh was one of the guys that was supposed to interview there. Eric Bieniemy, another one of the guys is supposed to interview there. They want to talk to Kellen Moore. I think that's going to be thanks. We appreciate the interest, but we're good here. The Eagles literally are playing musical chairs, and there's no chairs left. That may be the job that you look at and say, you really don't want it. When a guy would rather go to the Jets than the Eagles, that says a whole lot about the process. And it may be difficult for them to find a hot prospect, a retread good coach. I don't know. Philly, you got to start being worried right now. Philly 500, you don't seem to be hitting on any of these guys. And are you even getting callbacks from the calls that you're making? That's the bigger question. But here we are. We got our own issues here because we have Mike McCarthy, who, of course, was hired last year as a retread, took a year off to kind of get himself together and start studying analytics, and brought in all his buddies, and now 2 of his buddies are gone, and Jim Tomsula and Mike Nolan. The question is Dan Quinn going to be the guy to resurrect this defense? A lot of people are asking that question. In fact, Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman had a discussion about this. Let's listen to, I meant to do this yesterday, but there was so much going on that we didn't get to it. But let's listen to their response on their thoughts on Dan Quinn.
The Cowboys just hired Dan Quinn. And I don't know a whole lot about Dan Quinn except, what he's done on the football field, the type of person that that he is. I really don't know. But I know the Cowboys need somebody that can communicate on that level to those young guys. Tell me what you know about that new defensive coordinator the Cowboys just hired, Dan Quinn?
I've gotten to know Dan pretty well, both when he was in Seattle as a defensive coordinator. That's when I first met him, and then when he went on to become the head coach for the Falcons. And yeah, he's a leader of men. Really, he's a sweetheart of a guy. He's as genuine as they come. One of the nicest people. I think that, and he's a really good football coach. So I think it was a good hire. Even though Atlanta's had some of their issues on the defensive side of the ball, I think he'll come in. I think players will relate to him. I think part of the problems, first of all, I hate that Mike Nolan lost his job. I think some of the things that he was trying to do were good, but ultimately it boils down to, did they perform or did they not? And if they didn't, then the coach is the one who takes the responsibility of that. But I do believe that
that's a hard turn, though, Troy. In COVID thing, that was a hard turn, man. That was set up for a tough fall.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree. And relying on some young players and some key positions, and so a lot of things that were working against him. A lot of expectations for some of the free agents that they brought in that didn't come together, and they had to end up ultimately releasing. But I think Dan will, like they did with Marinelli and like they did with Chris Richard. I think there was a simplicity to what they did on defense, and there's something to be said for that. If Not that you always have to be the better players. Like in Seattle, when Dan was there, they were number one both years. He was defensive coordinator. They were first in the league defensively. But they were just physically better than everybody they played against. Right. That's not typically the case. But as you know, if guys know their assignments, they're just able to play with a lot more confidence and a lot faster. And I think that's what Dan's going to bring to this defense. I don't think they're going to be very complicated, but I think they're going to really be honed in on what their assignments are and then execute it.
Interesting take on that. And that's where I don't think Mike Nolan was as bad as we thought he was. It's just that it was a confluence of all of the things that happened. Shortened off season, dealing with, virtual reality meetings, changing your defense to a hybrid 3-4-4-3. It was too complex, and you could see it in the confoundment. I'm trying to use big words, and I'm probably messing them up. But the confusion of the players on the field. And going back to Dan Quinn, the schemes will be more simplistic, and it'll be about being more physical and being there before the other guy gets a chance. And those may be things that'll help this defense. But make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to need to upgrade some players in some positions. Now, we know that Jalen Smith had a wrist surgery yesterday. Tyrone Crawford had surgery as well yesterday after having 2 hip surgeries last offseason. I don't think that Tyrone Crawford will be coming back as a Dallas Cowboy. His contract is up, and I just don't see that from what we got out of him the last 2 years. Maybe I'm wrong. We have to look at Aldon Smith, and I want to get my numbers together for Aldon Smith on whether or not the Cowboys bring him back, because he could be the odd man out if you're looking at money situations here, although I think they would rather bring him back as well. So that's what we're looking at least with our coaching staff. Now, the Eagles are now late to the game. Them firing their coach beginning of the week has now put them behind the 8 ball. Everybody else has already started doing their coaching search and has really honed in on somebody. And basically now we're kind of getting to the point where you got toaster leavings. You know what toaster leavings are, right? Married with Children, the toaster. You shake out the toaster for the crumbs that come out of it. Yeah, toaster leavings. That's about what's left right now for coaches. There aren't the hot college coaches that are out there. The retreads that you may want have already gone. The hot coordinators, with the exception of maybe Eric Bieniemy, may also be out. So the Eagles, well, it may be rough for the Eagle Fly Nation. All right, y'all. I got some work I got to do. I got to get on the road. Unfortunately, I'll be back in that dead zone, so I won't be able to upload too much during the day. But be sure to tune in tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. We will be, of course, talking about all the new head coaches in the NFL, whether Dan Quinn will be the guy, and we're going to need to start getting ready for the Senior Bowl, which is only 2 weeks away. Whew. Wow. And this is the off season. So much going on. I'm Mark Holmes with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and I'll see you later.